All right, I'm going to try and show you in this video. This is part two of the seal of Saturn. It's important because I have to show you the basics of this thing so that you understand. In my personal opinion, and I know from reading and stuff that it's a sigil. A sigil, it's the logo or the identifying mark of it. It's its signature. In my opinion, it's a schematic. It's part of the machine. But anyway, I'm going to show you how they used the same symbol to make different symbols, and that way you can recognize them, and that way you'll be more they'll be more readily available when you look around you at products and news, news, TV, movies. You'll see this thing all over the place. But the most readily available one that they use is X. But then they make a variation of X, which goes all the way down to something else. And I'll show you. So let's get started, and I'll show you that. And here we go. Now, if we look here, look at this, we'll see that the X, which is used as the most primary letter for Saturn because it represents a couple different things. It's the unknown. It's it's from the Greek. It's the one that's used. You see that in Xmas. It's the most used letter for Saturn. If we take the X apart, if you looked at Figure 2, it's just two triangles. Now, if we overlap them instead of connecting them again at the main point, you get the seal of Saturn. That's in Figure 3. Now, if we slide them far enough down and we connect from the right to the left on the bottom and the top, now you get the creation of the Star of David. But David didn't have a star. David did not have a star. Jesus did. It's a little ploy they like to use so that you just go, oh, well, that's a religious object. No, that's the seal of Solomon. If you notice on the inside of that, there is a cube or a hexagon, and you will find that on the North Pole of Saturn. Now, this is the North Pole of Saturn. If you'll notice, you see a hexagon. But a hexagon, like I told you, is just a two-dimensional version of a three-dimensional cube. You'll notice that there's a blue circle around it. These colors are red and blue. You'll see this on TV all the time in the background. Let's watch and see how the hexagon turns into a cube. I filled it in for you. You'll see it. Watch. It'll start filling in. You'll slowly see the hexagon turning into a cube. And that is the same cube that you saw on the Israeli flag. So when you look at that now, what do you have now? Now you have the circle and the square representing time and space, and it represents the planet Saturn. Okay? Saturn and Satan are the same dude. They both represent the same thing. Whether he's a real entity or he's not, it's what they worship, it's what they believe. So here we have the circle and the square. Sometimes they'll do it the other way around. They'll put a little circle in a square, but it's still the circle and the square. It means time and space, material versus spiritual, but it's the same stuff. Okay, so now let's take a look at the Hebrew flag, the Jewish flag. On the inside, you'll see a hexagon, just like on this planet Saturn. So let's just take a look at it, see if you can visualize it without me filling it in. You see the hexagon, the perfect hexagon. It's white. It's a cube. And I want you to watch. Now I'm going to fill it in for you so you can see it. And anytime you see a hexagon, you understand that that represents the cube, which represents Saturn. Incidentally, the Masonic symbol they use is G, which stands for geometry, but higher up they use a Y. Well, that Y is actually just the corner of the cube. All right, so that's where we're at on this. So just get a good look at it. That all refers right back to the North Pole of Saturn. It's all the circle and the square. They try and hide the stuff in a whole bunch of different ways. So now I'm sure that you understand that. We can move on. Now this is from a big chain store. I'm sure you've all seen it. It's Best Buy, yeah. There's a reason why these tags are made like this, because once again, you are handling and worshiping their God. Okay? Whether you know it or not, you do this every day. They've been doing this for hundreds of years. Okay? One line is going to change the whole perspective on this thing. Right now, it looks like any other ticket you get from a dry cleaner, or if you go to the movies, the stubs always look the same. You know, they always look the same. Take something in to be repaired at a hardware store. The tags always look the same. If you watch real close, I'm going to show you where one line changes this whole equation. Watch. See where the little line is coming in from the upper point to the bottom? Now what has it done? Now it's created a cube. Now the word Best Buy is no longer in the front. Now it's inside. So now it's become a three-dimensional object instead of a two-dimensional. But it's still a cube. It still goes back to the hexagon, which goes back to the planet Saturn. And incidentally, if you look right to the right or to the left, you'll see the circle. And there again we have the circle and the square. And there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these illusions that they do with things. This was a very easy one to do. And most of them are, because most people will never get to this point to where they'll even comprehend what the circle and the square is. But that's my little video for today. I think we're at like 6 minutes or something. So I may make one more before Christmas, but we'll see. But that's it for right now. I hope you understand that this stuff is